Why is it that they can't find anything about Muhammad from the 7th century? The very good reason is because the artifacts now are starting to come to the fore. These artifacts are now coming to play, like the coins. Let's start with the coins. Take a look at the coins, and you will see that coins were being minted by these Arabs who were controlling from Libya in the west all the way to Afghanistan in the east. That's a huge swath of land. Let me just put up a map before you. You can see right here. So from this part here all the way to here, that whole swath of land was under their control by the time Muawiyah comes to power in 660. All that orange area and the brown area. That includes Iran, Afghanistan, all the way over into Libya, includes Egypt and Libya. All that swath of land was under the control during that period. They were minting coins. The reason you mint coins is not only just for commerce, you also mint coins so that you can announce who you are as the new leader. So Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali should have minted coins with their names on it because every leader of men minted coins. Is there one coin with any of their names on it? There were coins that were coming from that time, from 630 up until 661, when Muawiyah then mints his coins. Look at the coins of Muawiyah. He should have, that's the first recognizable coins we get for someone from the Umayyad Caliphate. Yet, even Muawiyah, as late as 661 up until 680, so now we're talking about 50 years, almost 60 years by the time Muhammad has died, we have coins in the West, they are all Christian. In the East, they are all Zoroastrian. Written in Arabic, with Arabic names, with rulers' names on it, but not Abu Bakr, not Umar, not Uthman or Ali, and certainly not Muhammad's name, nowhere. And why, if they are Muslims, why in the world are they minting coins with crosses on them over in the West, and with the fire altars, Zoroastrian fire altars in the East? That is hugely damaging for Islam. And when Muawiyah, their first great caliph of the Umayyad Caliphate, who should have been a sound Muslim by that time, he says nothing about Muhammad. He mints coins with Khusraw's face on it. And he has Bismillah, which is understandable because Bismillah would be the name for God in both Zoroastrian and also in Judaism and also in Christianity. Allah is the name that is used in Arabic from that time. Not until 692 do we get a coin finally that is Islamic, and that's Abdul Malik's coin. Now let's go to the inscriptions. See, the inscriptions, we have 30,000 of these inscriptions. And they are all, none of them are from Mecca and Medina. Look, before we finish with the coins, notice where the coins are minted. The coins are not minted anywhere near Mecca and Medina. The coins in the West are minted in Syria and in parts of Israel. The coins in the East are all minted in Iran. And those coins are being minted while these caliphs supposedly were in power by these caliphs, yet nothing whatsoever about these caliphs are on these coins. Remember, back in those days, they didn't have TV, they didn't have any type of newspapers or radio or internet to introduce when they came to power. They had to use coins because coins were in the hands of everybody. And that's the best way to announce who you are as the new ruler. And you always put your name, you always put your face on the coin, then you put your religious denomination on the coin to distinguish who you represent. And then you put the date on it and where the mint comes from. In every case, there's nothing Islamic about any of those coins until Abdul Malik comes in. He introduces the Shahada. And the Shahada, take a look at the Shahada. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. And you look at Muhammad is nothing more than a title of the praised one. The praised one who is the messenger of God. Who is he referring to? The 4 references to Muhammad in the Quran, in every case, they are referring to the praised one, either Jesus Christ, or on the coins, it could be Abdul Malik himself. He's talking about himself as the praised one, who is the emissary, the king, like what Muawiyah did earlier as the Malik. He would be the king of God. These are the representative of God, and they're aggrandizing themselves. They see themselves in a messianic character, and this is why they're putting their name. That's why they're putting their references, and that's why they're saying praise be unto God, because they are the ones that are representing God. Now, fascinating what he does do on that one, that he puts and takes off he does a mockery of the Byzantine cross on the back. Because of that, Justinian II goes to war with him immediately in 691 and 692. Abdul Malik then introduces a brand new coin in 693. And on that coin, he has his own image on it with the sword there. He's now basically saying, I'm going to take you on. And there he puts the Bismillah, but then on the backside, he mocks the cross, the Byzantine cross. By 698, he then takes the image off, and he only includes reference after reference after reference attacking the person of Jesus Christ. Why? Because he is attacking Byzantine Christianity. At the same time, he builds the Dome of the Rock. All the inscriptions on the Dome of the Rock, the only ones that still last today, they are all attacking the divinity of Jesus, they're attacking the Trinity, and they're attacking Jesus' sonship. That's why the Dome of the Rock was built in Jerusalem. And look and see where it's heading. Look and see where it's placed towards. It is directed straight towards Petra, not Mecca. Nothing about Mecca at all in any of these mosques. And this is where Gibson's material has been so exciting, because Gibson has shown that all the mosques, not just the one there in Jerusalem, not just the Dome of the Rock, not just the Al-Aqsa, he is showing that every one of the mosques in every country, as far away as China in the east and India, Cherman, India in the east, as far away as up in the north from Turkey, down in Yemen, every one of the mosques up until 706 are facing Petra. Not one is facing Mecca. And the first mosque to face Mecca is not till 727, and that's in Banbor in Pakistan. Once they come to power, then all their mosques are facing Mecca. Why Mecca? Because of what happened with Ibn Zubair. Look and see what Ibn Zubair does. He rebels against Abdul Malik in 687. He's there, governor of Petra. He destroys Petra, destroys the Kaaba, and takes the black stone with him. What happens when you take the black stone with you? The black stone is where God's presence is. It has always been where God's presence is. The black stone we can now trace back all the way to the 2nd century BC. Once you take the black stone out of Petra and you flee to the south, you need allies, you ally yourself with the Abbasids who are up in Baghdad, then the pilgrims follow where the black stone goes. Was not intentional that they created Mecca. They had to create Mecca because of the fact that the pilgrims were all coming to them. So what do? They recreate everything that was in Petra, they recreate in Mecca, but they don't use the same dimensions. And that's why Gibson has done such a great job showing that in Petra, all the material that you see in Petra, the 5 stages of the Hajj, take a look. They all fit to the dimensions that we see in Azraqi's material from the traditions. Azraqi showed the dimensions of the Kaaba. That you find in Petra. You don't find those dimensions in Mecca. Azraqi also talked about the 2 mountains of the Safa and Marwa that you run back and forth 7 times, mimicking what Hagar did to find water for Ishmael. That exactly can be found in Petra. They are mountains. Look in Mecca. They're just pieces of rock, facsimiles, 15 feet high. Those are not mountains. So in everything we're looking at, we're seeing that there is a predate, there is a precedent to almost everything Islam is talking about. The precedent comes from much further north. Everything we have seen. Look at the qira'ats. Why is it that of the 30 official qira'ats that were finally standardized by Al-Jaziri in 1429, that is the 15th century, 800 years later, take a look at them. 22 of them are from Basra, Kufa, and Damascus, and the majority of them are from Kufa. Why Kufa? Well, I'll tell you why Kufa. That used to be Hira. That is where the original Muhammad lived. That where Iyas ibn Qabisa lived. His nickname was Muhammad. He was a 7th century character. He was a king. He had responsibility for 30 towns. He is the one who in 622, do you see the date? 622? He is the one when Heraclius destroyed the Sassanids. He then takes over and has a reliance with the Jews. That's why he was seen as a safe pair of hands. But he was not a Muslim. He was a Christian. He was a Lakhmid Christian from the Lakhmid dynasty up there in Hira. And that's why 622 became important, because 622 is the date that the Arabs finally got their ascendancy, the Arabs finally got their identity, and they can now create that identity. Now, one last thing. The inscriptions are probably the best piece of literature we have because they are from the 7th century. I mentioned 30,000 of them. All the inscriptions from 640 up to 740. All the inscriptions, all of them are coming from the north. There are no inscriptions in Mecca and Medina. If this was the center of power, if this was the center of the universe, is this where all the caliphs lived? If this is where Islam was being formed, why are there no inscriptions from down that far south? They are all coming from north, up near Petra. They're coming from up in Damascus. They're coming from what is today Israel, in Lebanon. That's where the inscriptions are coming. They're rock inscriptions. They're written in Arabic. They're written in Quranic Arabic. Look at that. They're written in Quranic Arabic. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Aleph Maksura. They include the Tar Marbuta. They also include the Aleph. These are what you find in Quranic Arabic today. But that is not Arabic from Mecca, Medina. That is Arabic from Nabatean. It is Nabatean Aramaic. Those endings of words only come out of Nabatean Aramaic, which comes out of Petra, which is up in Jordan, 600 miles further north. What would they use, or what should have been used, or if Muhammad did live at the time of the beginning of the 7th century, what Arabic would he have used? He would have used Sabaic Arabic from the Yemen. Sabaic Arabic does have the 5 dots and does have the 3 vowels. Had he used that Arabic, we would have not had any kiddots, because they would have not had any of these differences. They would have not had any problems with where you put the dots or you put the vowels, because they would have been written with the dots and vowels already in place, proving that the Quran was not written in Mecca, Medina. It was written up near Petra. And it was using Nabatean Sabaic that did not have dots, did not have vowels. That's why at the end of the 7th century, going into the 8th century, they then had to impose those dots and vowels. But that was not imposed down in Mecca. That was not imposed down in Medina. That was all coming from Kufa. That's why all the qira'ats are from Kufa. Can you understand why the majority of the qira'ats of the 30, 22 of them, of the 30, are from that part of the world? Because that's where the Arabic comes from, that's where that Quranic Arabic comes from, and that's where the dots and vowels were then being manipulated and traced, and all the variants are coming up. We know as many as 700 different Qurans existed by the time that finally Al-Jaziri puts it down. Well, he's not the only one. You have Shabati in 1192, and you also, before that, Ibn Mujahid in 936. So those are the 3 that actually canonized the 30 Qurans. 936, 1192, and 1429. Look at the dates. These are all hundreds of years, 500, 800 years after Muhammad. And these men who did all this canonization, these Qurans from which they were choosing from, are all from the north. They are not anywhere near the south. They are nowhere near Mecca and Medina. Okay? Does that help you?